Yes, you mad Etsy people, guys. Listen, I'm going to be doing a lot of these kind of videos where I'm discussing messages that people have on Reddit, Facebook and on other platforms. I do like Reddit, to be fair. I do talk about many things to do with Etsy, but, things like this are really close to my heart about how people feel about Etsy, what their emotions are, what's going on in their head, and how stressful Etsy can be, and really online business in general and life in general, right? And I always said that if I'm going to be starting a channel, I want to be touching on these things. And to be honest, I haven't talked about this for a long time, so I really want to touch on this, and hopefully it will resonate with you. And guys, if you do like videos like this, please hit the like, subscribe, smash the notification bell, and do add a comment below, because I'd really like to know if you are also suffering from this or you have felt this in any shape or form. But let me read this message because I really like it. And it says, what do you guys do to keep your mental health in check? And I think there's a really underrated thing. It says, genuine question, and any advice is appreciated. I've been selling online full time for about 2+ years now, Etsy and other platforms. While I've gotten better at dealing with all kinds of issues that pop up here and there, I feel like there's always that uneasiness I cannot shake off. I can sense my mental health declining over time, and I can't stay balanced and focused. Sales are always going to fluctuate, and sometimes it can fall off a cliff, and sometimes it bounces back. We can speculate, but can never fully understand the reason behind the wild fluctuation. There are always going to be customer complaints, unjustified negative reviews, packages going missing, badly delayed, competitors trying to screw you by filling false infringement notices, which can trigger reserves, shutdowns, Etsy doing random new tests and that put you to a disadvantage, bad economy in general. A lot of things can impact your business. My shop is doing just fine in general. There have been some major changes this year, but overall it's doing fine. And I know how to handle each of these cases mentioned above. But I feel tired and anxious all the time. I kind of dread opening my shop every day, and I'm starting to really lose my mojo and passion for my business. I've had very demanding jobs before, but this is just hits differently. There's no off switch for my anxiety, and maybe that's just how it is being a business owner. So, what do you do to keep your mental health in check? How do you keep your spirits up and stay focused, balanced? Any advice, tips is much appreciated. Now, I'll tell you one thing though, this actually is so true, and that is probably the case for thousands and thousands of sellers out there, not just Etsy, just online sellers. Mental health. Yeah, I mean, look, Etsy, and not only Etsy, I mean, it's not just Etsy. Selling online can be difficult mentally. You can really suffer. You can have, really have bad anxiety with selling online because it's just so up and down. You don't know what's happening. You got anxiety about paying the bills. You got anxiety because your life, finding the balance with business and your own life. Kids, spouse, bills. It's a very, very difficult thing, and having to keep your mental health in check and your spirits up is very difficult. I mean, I think everybody suffers. I suffer. I suffer definitely from anxiety, and I find ways of coping. My way of coping is I definitely go out of the house. Have walks. I'll go to the gym, run, do some sport. Breathe the air, look at the trees, go to the park, talk to friends, have conversations outside of business. You can't just do this all the time. It will really finish you. You can't just be looking at this and looking at the four walls in a room and stay on the computer and the laptop. Laptops, computers are damaging. You can't just sit there scrolling and trying to keep doing stuff. You have to have balance. Balance is what it's about. And you know what? Someday, you have to switch off sometimes. You can't be switched on all the time. It's not good for you. I've learned that. And it really is. And it's a constant battle. You can't say, okay, I've gone out today for a bit and I'll be fine for the rest of the week or the next 2 weeks. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to have a program where, this is my own view, where every day you have your out time. So today I might go and have a walk in the park, let's say, for about half an hour, right? I'll come back, I'll be good. Tomorrow I might go and see a friend, maybe to have a little conversation away from business or online or anything. You have to have a program where you do something, right? Drop a comment below. Tell me what your way of dealing with the mental anxiety or the difficulty, of selling online. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, because everyone's different, but there are things that are similar ways of dealing with it, right? But I think this is a fantastic post, very underrated. People don't really talk about this as much, but like I said, I'm going to be talking about lots of topics that are really hitting with Etsy sellers. So if you do want to hear that, and I'm actually going to do some lives as well, so you can jump on and you can just tell me what your thoughts are. I think that's important. You can use it as a therapy session for me, well, for you and for me. where you can jump on and just tell me what your thoughts are. But I'm going to do that. So if you want to live, just say live below, please. But they are going to be coming soon. I like what this person said here. Look, says, I think this is a really underrated post because it's so important when you're selling online. It's usually a one-person show, and that is so true. It usually is a one-person show. You don't talk to anyone. As humans, we're not designed to be just sat there in a box in a room. So it's usually a one-person show, and it can be really stressful to have to manage everything alone. If you're reading this and you're one such person, I see you. You're doing great, and chances are you don't get enough credit for what you do. I can't say that I really have a solution or suggestions, except for trying to keep in mind that the very worst that can ever happen is that Etsy shuts down your store, and that it's not the end of the world. There are other platforms. I really do think it's wise to branch out and have multiple platforms because, in my opinion, Etsy is very inconsistent and rather unsupportive. Customer service is basically non-existent, and if anything goes wrong, you basically get a too bad, so sad. That's not to say that the platform doesn't have its merits, but I'd never rely solely on it. I think this is a fantastic reply to the original post, and I 100% wholeheartedly agree. You have to have your plan B, C, and D. Make sure that you do have your own website, Shopify, System.io. I've spoken about these, where you're building up your own email list, where you've got your own, you can sell online on your own website. Because if anything does go wrong, and in life, you can't rely on anything. Like, there are platforms out there that can shut down. You just don't know. But you just have to have an alternative. That's the key. Make sure you got an alternative, please. If you can take anything away from this video, take this. Have an alternative. Because the stress of something going on your Etsy store, or being shut down, suspended, honestly, is not worth it. And I'm not saying it's gonna happen. No, I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying, just don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's as simple as that. And actually build something else. You're building your own brand website, your own entity, and that's exciting too. So as you're doing your Etsy store, work a little bit on your own thing as well. But yeah, look, this is someone who's kind of said this. Look, I totally agree with not selling only on Etsy. I started selling on Etsy first, and they wrongfully suspended my shop once. I opened a second shop at that time, even though they did not ask. That's why I suspect that's the reason for the suspension trigger. They gave me my shop back after a week, telling me it was a mistake, but it literally took me over a month to get my shop back to the same volume again. This event gave me somewhat of a PTSD about selling on Etsy now. Every time the app is glitchy, it freaks me out. I have since then started selling on other platforms and also my own website to diversify. My Etsy still has pretty decent sales, but honestly, the more I sell on Etsy, the more I feel like I have to lose if something were to happen to it again. It's almost like I'm always mentally prepared for the worst on here. I was also put on reserve twice because a couple of competitors of mine come after my shop and file bogus copyright claims once in a while. I counterclaimed everything and reported this harassment to Etsy, but they didn't do anything about it and still put me on reserve. The competitors' shops are still open today and didn't get penalized for filing fake reports. They cannot back up. It's just so easy to abuse the reporting system and take down a listing on Etsy. And some competitors are truly shitty people. Some people would even impersonate someone else and file infringement reports. And yes, this happened to me as well. With Etsy's automatic reserve suspension bots and lack of human support, I really don't know how long my shop can stay open before it's hit with a final blow due to something unjustified like this. I feel like sellers on Etsy pretty much have to fend for themselves and pray for the best. I think maybe the solution to this is I need to work harder on my other sales channels so my Etsy earnings become more and more insignificant. If I don't care about it, then maybe it wouldn't stress me out so much selling on here. I really, I sympathize fully because this is a really good comment and it's so true. Lots of things can happen at any time. And I do believe you have to really find a way through this and also diversify. But let's get back to the mental health sort of answers. Here's a good answer. A while back, I realized I was stuck in the always looking at my phone working loop. That is so true. I'm constantly looking at my phone. I do the same, whether it be that or I just want to scroll through TikTok. It's crazy. I think screen time is a big issue for all of us. And I think the more we can get off the screen, the better. I think, we're humans and nature is part of our what we should go back to. I really believe that. So yeah, as much contact with nature, I think I found really, really useful. And less screen time. Let me just read on. I'm a bit of a workaholic, which was terrible for my mental health. So I started setting boundaries for myself. That is good. Boundaries is good. One, Sundays and Tuesdays are my days off. Good. Other than checking and responding to messages once per day, I don't do anything on Etsy or social. Between Jan and October, at least, holiday months are an exception. Number two, I moved my Etsy shop out of my house. I know that isn't an option for most people, but for me, it was necessary and a huge game changer. My shop had completely overtaken my house, and I was unable to separate myself from work, which meant I was always at work. If you can put everything in one room and close the door so that the shop is closed, that is so helpful. That is an amazing one. I really love that one. Actually having a place, if you're able to so that you can just close the door and then say, look, that's it. No Etsy now. Shut the door physically, mentally. I love that one. Number three, I started socializing more. I think that's a big one. I think you can do that. Have some, select good friends that you can talk about anything other than Etsy. Thanks to COVID, my shop really took off, but that also means I spent 2 years only seeing my family and the workers at the grocery store and post office. Not great, so now I try to go for a walk with a friend once a week or grab a coffee or something. This is a really great conversation. Thank you for. Yeah, that's so true. Grab a coffee, go see a friend, go for a walk in the park. I think these are all fantastic suggestions, guys, and I think you should definitely do that. Physically closing the shop is actually amazing. And also finding a time where you're replying to messages. Obviously you want to do it. Obviously Etsy wants you to reply as soon as, but as long as you're replying, within a certain timeline. And not constantly on your phone checking for messages, because that is a sign that can be a sign of anxiety too. And here's finally one other bit of really good. I like this message as well. I've got some really good tips as well, how to deal with it. Diversify. I've been doing it full time for a few years. When I was only using one platform, Etsy, and I was making more than full-time income, relying only on that. The stress was enormous, especially that I was there during the implementation of the ODR and mysterious shop closures weeks before the ODR was officially announced. Diversifying really takes away a lot of stress, whether it's Amazon, eBay, or your own website. If you have another platform where you're making similar money, definitely the stress will disappear. That is definitely a big game changer when you diversify. I think sometimes we don't realize what's stressing us, but that diversification is definitely one, because the thought of something happening to the Etsy store is always something that hangs on our mind, and that's for sure. And that does affect our mental health. Use tracking and auto messages as well as draft message, so you don't have to write every single message when it can be just copied with a name change. That is so true. Take time off and have dedicated work hours. It doesn't have to be strict, but if you finish work for the day, finish work for the day, for real. When you finish. Don't just check it once because it's not helpful. Delete the Etsy app, at least get rid of notification. It really takes away the urgency of always being on. That is true. Hobbies, do things you enjoy, and don't feel guilty of not always being working. You'll be much happier and more productive. That is really, look, what I really like about, looking at Reddit and other places is that Etsy sellers with that experience help each other. And that's what we're doing. And for me, and for doing this video, I hope it's helped someone out there, even if it's one person. If it has helped you, please drop a comment below, and also tell me, maybe give me some other tips that I can add so that in the comments other sellers might read it, and it will also help them maybe deal with the anxiety and stress of selling online and selling on Etsy. Because I think this should be a place where everybody helps each other. I really want to make the channel also more about helping other people in different ways, not just about just showing them the trends of designs and what makes money. I like to really talk about other parts of it, whether it be the mental health aspect or other things, because I think that's so important. But yeah, I think oh, here's a good look at this one. I'm gonna wait, listen, check this out. Look, check this comment. It's amazing. It says, look, get a dog even if you don't feel like going out. Dog demands it. Every morning and evening, going out and socializing is a must. If you spend a lot of time online, plus even if you see it as another burden, actually it will improve your mental health and resistance to stress. It brought a lot of different aspects to my daily routine and life. Also, I do long distance cycling and exercise with weights, but the second is mandatory for everyone. That's a really good point. And sometimes you got like a pet, it could be a cat, dog, or something, forces you to kind of take time out. That's an interesting one. I never thought about that. But I like, that's interesting. See, so anything that can actually change your mood. Some people say just watch a little bit of comedy, just so many things. So if you do have something that can help others with regards to mental health, maybe just getting away from Etsy for a bit, selling with anxiety, whatever it may be, then please drop it below. And if you did like this video, then please hit the like, subscribe, smash the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.